Hello there everyone, how are you this evening? This evening I have a great one for you. Bacon and cheese croquettes. Now you can vary these vastly, different ways of making them. You can do different fillings in them. New potato ones. I'm going to do a bread stuffing one today, but you can do like leftover potato and all sorts in these. So let's get stuck in. Really simple, very quick video for you tonight. So just get this going on to a medium heat, don't put it too high. And what I have in here is butter. I'll put all the quantities in above face. Twist that a little bit. There we go. I'll put all the quantities in above when I finish the video. So straight away, just put in your onion, and I have one chopped onion here. And just chop it as finely as you can. Don't want it too hot. And a little tip for you, if you don't want butter to burn, put a tiny little drop of oil in with the butter and it won't burn. And while that's doing its thing there, we'll actually put a little bit of garlic in. So I'm using one chopped clove. I'm just using some of the handy garlic. So I'll go through the ingredients. We have the onion that you've seen, the butter and the garlic. So you have some bacon. This is completely optional. You don't have to put it in if you don't want to. I'm going to use it. The other thing that I'm going to use again that is optional, I'm going to use some pork mince. You can use chicken mince, turkey mince. Actually, this is turkey mince. Yeah, this is turkey mince I have here. So you can use pork, turkey, chicken, whatever you want, not beef or lamb. And you don't have to use the mince at all if you prefer not to. So if you're not using the mince, just leave the onion. Mix it around, spread it around the pan, and just leave it then just to do its thing in the butter. So just turn that up a bit because I have that meat. Give my hands a little wash. I touch raw meat at all, and I touch the paper from that raw meat. So it's really important to wash your hands so you don't cross-contaminate and spread that bad bacteria all over your kitchen. So I'm going to go through the rest of the ingredients here. We have some sage, Mr. Bell's in Cork, great Irish company. If you're in Cork at all, check them out. Mr. Bell's, they do lovely range of spices in tubs and all sorts of ways. So this is sage, so I'm going to put about 2 teaspoons of sage into that. If you're using fresh, use about 8 leaves. It's important that you break the mince up as much as you can. You don't worry about colouring it. So just a medium heat is good. Medium to high. Don't put it on a cold pan. The onions are fine on a cold pan, but don't put the meat on a cold pan. So the rest of the ingredients we have here, just a little bit of pepper. I highly recommend you have one of these, a pepper nut. They're fantastic. A little bit of cheese. Again, it's optional. I'm going to put that through the croquettes. And then we have breadcrumbs. So breadcrumbs, about 8 to 10 slices of bread done here. So I'm going to remove about 3/4 of that. Will go into this to make the stuffing, and the rest then is kept here. So you have, this is called panning. So it's a panning. So you have flour, you have egg, and you have breadcrumbs. So you can do chicken breast, any kind of thing you want, really, vegetables, all sorts, like this. So you coat it first in the flour, then next you go into your egg, coat it in that completely, and then into your breadcrumbs, coat it in that, and then have a plate or something beside you to put whatever it is you're doing onto that plate. So I grab a plate, and there we go. And if you're working, if you're left-handed or right-handed, if you're right-handed like me, so you're going to work with your flour on your left side, and you're going to work across like so. Okay, and get it lined up for yourself. If you're left-handed, you're going to reverse what I have done here, and that's important to save you a lot of time when cooking. So one thing to make note of if you're doing this is you don't want those lovely juices to dry out of the pan. It's really important. So we put our breadcrumbs in there now. As I said, there you go. So about, just the stuffing, you'd want about 5 slices of bread. I removed the crust before I did it. So that's important if you want kind of a smoother croquette that will stick better together. and for aesthetics really. Other than that, just leave it on if it's not important to you. So we turn the heat off, and there we have it. So we're just going to put some pepper into that. Now I recommend you putting some salt as well. I'm not going to use salt. My heart isn't the best, so I avoid it. But put about just a little pinch of salt into that, if you're young and fit and healthy. Beautiful. So now you let that cool at home. Just leave that aside and go and do your bits. And give that, spread it out, and give that about half an hour to cool at home. I don't have time to do that here for a video, so I'll stick on my gloves and I'll plough ahead and burn my hands. See what I do for you guys, hey? So here we go. So very simply, when your mix is nice and cool, can you see that? Oh, you can, great. So just grab your mix, whatever it is. I really recommend you don't do it like I'm doing it now, because that is quite hot and that is going to burn you. So for that reason, I'm just going to leave the cheese out. So shape it in your hand. It will be cool. And shape it into whatever shape you want. If you want to do it into a ball, if you want to do it into a cylinder, I'm just going to do a nice ball here now, because this is hot and it's a little harder to work with when it's hot like that. You don't want it completely cool, you want it room temperature. So roll it in the flour, then come over to your egg and roll it in your egg, and put your bowls beside each other so that you make less of a mess when you're going from bowl to bowl. Now normally I just do this with one hand, but this is a little bit more delicate because it's so hot. And then just roll it in that lovely flour, or beg your pardon, the breadcrumbs. And if you had the black in that now, the crust in your breadcrumbs, you'd have black bits through that. It just doesn't look as nice. So we'll grab another bit of that. And I will let this cool, and I'll put the cheese in. And what I'm doing is when I'm forming it, I'll make my ball. Let me show you here. I'll form my ball, I'll put my thumb in, I'll stick my cheese into it. Sure, here we'll stick a little bit in. I'll stick my cheese into it. I really recommend you don't do this because this is really, really hot. So your cheese goes into the center as much as you can. Get your shape and push it together. Make sure you hold that shape. That's important because you don't want to break it apart. So I'll just do this. And one more, and then I'll cook these for you and I'll show you. Now I have my oven preheating because what I'll do is I'm going to do them in the fryer and then I'm going to finish them in the oven. And I'll show them to you, one of them, and I'll finish the rest in the oven. And they need about 10 minutes in the oven, which is why they're great for a Sunday roast. What would be amazing in that now, if you really want to bring the flavour up in that and you want to get it to a whole different level, the juices from your roast chicken, half of them in through your stuffing. Oh, here, the amazing flavour off of that. Now, freezing these. You can freeze them like this, put them on a tray, greaseproof paper, keep them separated, stick them into your fridge. By the way, just interrupt myself, an easy way of doing that without touching it is just to roll it around like that. They're getting a bit cooler now, so they're easier to work with. Now, so we have 3 of those done. I'm going to go over the way, put these into the fryer, and I'll talk to you as I'm doing that. So just remove these gloves. I'll grab my tongs and the fryer. And drop your basket into the oil. Now you can also do these in a frying pan. I recommend you do the croquettes, do them in cylinders if you're going to do them in a frying pan. And again, put about half an inch or an inch of oil. I will move this out of the way for a moment. Put about a half inch or an inch of oil. Vegetable oil is better for frying these, but olive oil will do the fine if you just have that. So when you put them into the fryer, just dip the basket up and down a little. And this tongs is a great thing to have. And give them a little roll around. Just mind you don't burn your hands. And you just want them to coat as evenly coloured as you can. And you're not fully cooking them in the fryer. They are cooked, but you're not fully cooking them in the fryer. You're just getting that lovely coating on the breadcrumbs. And what that does then is it's going to keep its shape. It's going to encase all those all that lovely stuffing and cheese and the whole lot inside in the crumb. So that won't escape then, and your cheese can melt. And when you open it then, you have lovely oozing cheese coming out. Now I won't get that effect today because I didn't get to put enough cheese into it. So just about there now. So depending on your fryer, I have this turned up all the way. It goes up to 190. I recommend 180, especially if you're not going to be standing watching it. You can burn these quite easily. You can also have one part of them completely white and the rest of them brown. And the reason for that would be the little bit that sticks out at the top, because they will float. Yeah, very good. We shall grab another plate and give you a look at this. It's not great. On we go. Delicious. Now let me show you these. Let me show you a little something. So, kitchen paper, because they're just out of a fryer. So just gets the oil off the plate and just absorbs any oil off those as well. And your oil is on that and not in your food. So let's cut into one of these and give you a little look. Oh, look at that. Now I will put these in the oven, but there you go. There you have it. Beautiful smoked bacon and cheese loose at the minute. Croquette. If you want to do a potato, do exactly as I've done it, but fry your bacon off and put your sage in then and mix your potato through it. Regular mashed potato consistency is fine, and then just roll that into a cylinder and coat that. The thing with mashed potato is compact it well because it can break apart easily, so make sure that you work with that. You can make a spice burger, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to figure out buy this Mr. Walsh's spice burger, and I'm going to figure out how they make it, what flavours they're putting into it, and I'm going to recreate that for you guys next week. That's it. Thanks for watching. If you're going to make these, I recommend for Sunday, if you're going to make them, I recommend making them the night before, having them in your fridge. Let them cool. Do them like this so that they're sealed, and then have them in your fridge and take them out the next day and just put them into the oven on a roasting tin. If you want to freeze them again, you can freeze them when you've done them in the breadcrumb first. Then once they're frozen flat and spread out, put them in a freezer bag. Then they're the same this way, the exact same. You can do them like this, allow them to cool, and then spread them out and freeze them like that. Listen, thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you back on Tuesday with, I'm not sure what I'll have yet, but I'm sure I'll do something interesting. Enjoy your weekend. Bye bye.